At the introduction of candidates this morning, Mr. Shanmugam also highlighted three things that matter for voters in their choice of candidates. He said that first, they are choosing who will run the government. Second, who they trust to run their town council. And third, who they trust to represent them in Parliament.
27 years as MP, of which 7 years were served in cabinet. Mr. K. Shanmugam brings with him a wealth of experience to the Nee Soon GRC team, and he pulled no punches when framing this election. First, he said it's about choosing who will run this country.
That is an important matter because a swing can see a different government, perhaps a coalition government. Who do you trust to run your country, to run our economy, to make sure our jobs are safe, guarantee our security?
Second, it's about who voters trust to run their town. While not explicitly referencing the Opposition Workers' Party and the issues that have surrounded its running of the Aljunied Hougang Punggol East Town Council, he noted that any plan to rejuvenate a constituency will depend on whether a town council has funds and is run by honest people.
Our town council has never had its accounts qualified. It's always run a surplus because we husbanded the resources carefully and we spent $26 million on helping our residents, and it nevertheless ended up with a surplus. It's in a healthy position, and the voters will have to decide whether they want to subsidize any other town council that's in deficit. I'm sure that issue will come up. Because when there is a deficit, as has happened before, one way of covering the deficit is merging it with another town council that has got a healthy amount of money.
A third consideration, who voters will trust to represent them in Parliament and speak up for them. Mr. Shanmugam added that the government had implemented policies in response to economic and social issues facing the country since 2007. It was then that the government introduced Workfare, a scheme where the government tops up the wages of low-wage workers. And over the last 8 years, he said other changes are being implemented one at a time. Policies, said Mr. Shanmugam, should not happen as a knee-jerk reaction to an election.
The critical thing is, have we gotten our policies, that the major policies, right, starting in 2007? Given the reaction of people to a number of those changes, I think most people accept that the policy response starting from 2007 was the right one. And at the same time, they also acknowledge that the government is doing its best on the shorter-term challenges.
At the local level, Mr. Shanmugam said what PAP candidates can do for residents depend on who is there and what they can do. Now, Mr. Shanmugam was also asked if the timing of the election is an attempt to ride on the high of the SG50 celebrations. Now, he said that this is not the first time that Singapore is having an elections right after National Day. And he said that any government in the world would choose a time it thinks is suitable.
Singaporeans will assess for themselves, not based on National Day mood, but based on what has happened in their lives in the last 4.5 years. Has there been improvement? And over the next 5 years, who do they trust to run their lives?
Singapore's general election will take place on September 11.